The calm arrived so quietly that you almost didn't recognize it. Not because it was small, but because you had spent so long expecting intensity instead. For a long time, your inner world moved through tension. Even silence carried pressure. Even distance carried meaning. A quiet evening never felt neutral to you. It felt like something was wrong. Something was changing. Something was slipping away. Your mind stayed emotionally alert all the time. Watching for shifts, listening for absence, trying to understand silence before it had the chance to become loss. And eventually your body adapted to that state. Not peacefully, just consistently. You became used to emotional anticipation, used to waiting, used to checking, used to feeling your nervous system react immediately whenever something felt uncertain. So when the calm finally started appearing, it didn't immediately feel comforting. It felt unfamiliar, almost suspicious. One evening passed quietly and nothing inside you collapsed. No spiral, no emotional panic, no desperate need to search for meaning inside the silence. And instead of relief, you mostly felt confused by it, because your body had learned to survive chaos, but not quiet. Stillness required something different. It required your nervous system to stop preparing for emotional impact every second. And that takes longer than most people realize. At first, the quiet only lasted in small moments. A few minutes where your mind stayed present instead of drifting backward. An evening where your attention didn't constantly return to what was missing. A moment where the silence around you simply remained silence. Not abandonment, not rejection, not proof of loss. Just silence. And those moments felt strangely fragile, like they could disappear at any second. Part of you almost waited for the heaviness to return, waited for the memories to suddenly flood everything again. Because pain had become familiar, emotional tension had become predictable, but calm felt uncertain in a completely different way. Not because it hurt, because you didn't fully trust it yet. There's something disorienting about emotional peace after heartbreak, especially when you spent so much time emotionally bracing yourself. Your body gets used to interruption, used to emotional urgency, used to carrying invisible tension even during ordinary moments. So when that tension slowly softens, the absence of it can almost feel empty at first. Not in a painful way, more in a way that leaves extra space inside your own mind. And at first, you don't know what to do with that space. You sit in your room one evening and notice that your thoughts aren't racing the same way. The phone stays untouched longer. The silence stretches across the room without immediately becoming emotionally heavy, and instead of reacting automatically, you just remain there, quietly. And maybe that's one of the strangest realizations of all. The moment you notice that your body is no longer fighting the silence every second, not because everything is healed, not because nothing hurts anymore, but because something inside you stopped expecting emotional danger all the time. And once that changes, everything around you starts feeling different too. The evenings become softer. The hours move differently. Even sadness changes texture. It no longer crashes into every quiet moment with the same force. Sometimes it arrives gently now. Sometimes it passes through without taking over the entire night. And that shift is subtle enough that other people would probably never notice it. From the outside, everything may look exactly the same. You still sit alone sometimes, still think about them sometimes, still feel certain memories more deeply than others. But internally, something is less tense, less sharp, less constantly prepared for emotional collapse. And maybe that's what peace after heartbreak actually feels like. Not happiness, not certainty, not suddenly becoming a different person, just the gradual absence of emotional panic. The gradual realization that silence no longer controls your nervous system the same way, that a quiet evening no longer automatically becomes a painful one, that your mind can finally stay where you are for a little longer. There's still moments that catch you unexpectedly. A familiar song, a certain hour at night, The instinct to tell them something before remembering that you no longer do that. And for a second, everything feels close again. But even those moments move differently now. They don't consume everything around them anymore. They arrive. They stay briefly. Then they loosen their grip. Not because you forced them away, because your body slowly stopped feeding every emotional echo with the same intensity. And that change happens quietly. So quietly that sometimes you only recognize it afterward. You realize an entire evening passed without emotional panic sitting underneath it. You realize the silence stayed calm longer than before. You realize your body remained relaxed during moments that used to trigger tension immediately. And none of it feels dramatic. If anything, it feels strangely ordinary. But maybe that's the point. Peace after heartbreak rarely arrives like a breakthrough. It arrives like softness returning slowly to places that stayed tense for too long. It arrives through quieter reactions, through slower thoughts, through evenings that stop feeling emotionally dangerous. And eventually, the silence itself changes shape. It stops feeling like abandonment, stops feeling like punishment, stops feeling like proof that something is missing. It simply becomes part of the atmosphere around you, a softer atmosphere, a slower one, a quieter one. And maybe the strangest part is that nothing outside of you necessarily changed. The room is still quiet, the phone is still silent sometimes, the memories still exist. But your relationship to those things is no longer the same. Your nervous system no longer interprets every still moment as emotional danger. And because of that, the quiet begins feeling different too, less sharp, less threatening, less desperate. Almost gentle in certain moments. And one night, without fully understanding when it happened, you sit inside the silence and realize you are no longer waiting for it to hurt.